Australian Aviation Podcast, the official podcast of Australian Aviation, unpacking the latest insights, developments and issues impacting Australia's aviation sector.
Hello and welcome to the Australian Aviation Podcast. I'm Jake Nelson. Joining me, as always, this week is my co-host, the Deputy Editor of Cyber Daily and rightful King of Toowoomba, David Hollingworth.
You know, I've never been to Toowoomba.
And yet you're the rightful king.
They're missing out a lot.
Yeah, it's. I think it's like an Aragorn situation. Was he ever in
Toowoomba? I don't think so, no.
No. Joining us as well this week is our new graduate journalist working across defense and aerospace, Bethany Alvaro. Bethany, welcome to the show.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the madhouse. So, Bethany, you have just finished your degree.
Yep.
Where have you been studying?
Last week, I just finished journalism.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. On Wednesday, I had my last class, journalism and digital social media. So all done now.
Just a small topic.
Yeah, just that tiny little thing. It's no big deal. But yeah, so now I'm here.
And where have you been studying?
UTS.
UTS.
Yeah.
Fine school.
Yeah.
Ugly building.
Always. They're disgusting. But you know what? It's good enough. Yeah.
And what led you to this fine establishment for your first job out of uni?
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. It's a very sort of like niche industry, which I feel like is like kind of a fun place to start, like for a career. So I don't know. I just kind of saw the job and I was like, that sounds fun.
Really good thinking,
so I just applied for it.
You get to know something very, very inside out. You get to focus on the technical details and then hone your skills around that. I think it's a really good move.
Yeah. Thanks.
And, you know, commercial journalism is a really good place for young journalists to start off.
Yeah.
It's where I got my start, and I'm still in the field. So make of that what you will, I suppose.
This could be you.
This could be you, but probably shouldn't. But and now you're here on the Australian Aviation Podcast.
Yes, thank you.
So if to all you journalism graduates at UTS, you too could be the next Bethany Alvaro working here at Momentum Media.
You never know.
Well, let us not have much further ado because we've got a jam-packed week of news to cover off, starting with the big news that dropped last Tuesday evening after we'd already recorded the podcast.
Yeah.
The moment that we've all been waiting for, Rex has a buyer.
Yeah, and what are they called?
Air T. So
Look, you know what's coming.
Yes.
Air T Rex.
We finally have the Air T Rex
That's
deal.
so good.
Little tiny arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, little tiny planes.
Little tiny planes. Yep. So walk us through who's Air T.
So Air T, I will have to ask production how much of the Jurassic Park theme we can put under this. But Air T,
copyright strike,
and that's it. That's all that we can do. So Air T is this American aviation firm. They sort of specialize in parts and maintenance. So aircraft trading, aircraft leasing, parts, freight operations.
Mm-hmm.
They are also the owners of Kingman Airport in Arizona.
Okay.
And we'd been speculating about this for a while, and I think we touched on it a few weeks ago on the podcast where the topic of the Air T Rex deal first came up.
Yeah.
There is so much fertile ground here. You know, we
don't want to use it all.
We don't want to use it all.
We want to really draw this one out.
I think this is proof that aviation finds
it's
a way.
Copyright strike.
But so they have come in. They had signaled their interest, and they have announced that they are looking to move forward with the purchase. Now, this is all still subject to approvals, from the creditors, from the government. But one thing that probably attracted the government and the administrators to this deal is that Air T has access to a lot of parts for the Saab 340B.
That's the piece that now comes together because Air T have said they will absolutely keep the Saab fleet in the air, won't they?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Saab 340B is the twin engine sort of turbo prop that Rex flies on all its regional routes. Have you ever flown with Rex, Bethany?
No, small planes kind of freak me out, to be honest.
Well, we do a lot of trips down to Canberra for work. You are going to get used to small aircraft a lot. And hopefully not the Saabs, because they are a little bit loud.
Yeah, I flew on a Saab with Link Airways, and the flight itself was fine. The landing, could have done without. As I've said, if you've never landed in Canberra in a Saab on a windy morning, good.
You haven't lived, yes.
But yeah, so mainly we'd be flying down with Qantas Link to Canberra, which uses the Dash 8 Q400. But the Saab 340B is the Rex, the backbone of the Rex fleet, and it is a backbone that has had a lot of herniated discs because the 57 strong Saab 340B fleet is actually, I don't know, more like 20 to 30 strong, given that a hefty chunk of these aircraft have been out of commission for extended periods in recent years.
Yeah. The average life of the airframe is like 30 years, right?
That's the average age of Rex's planes, yeah. So long in the tooth. And AIRT has access to this big inventory of Saab 340B parts, and they can keep the Saab fleet going. Because there's been a lot of talk about Rex will need to, whoever buys Rex will need to renew its fleet. And honestly, that's probably still going to need to happen because, the parts are going to run out eventually. But this is this is at least a stopgap measure to get more of those planes in the air. And, the AIRT has vowed that they will get more of these planes back in the air and keep those vital regional routes going. The government has, of course, taken a victory lap. Transport Minister Catherine King has said that Rex would likely have gone under without government help. She said that she didn't think Rex would be flying today if the government had not stepped in and shored it up. They bought the lion's share of Rex's debt. They guaranteed Rex's regional operations. They put $80 million in funding into Rex late last year to keep it going. There's been concerns that the creditors might not get their money's worth.
Okay.
It's sort of up in the air as to how much money will be returned to creditors. Of course, the largest creditor is the Australian government. But... Well,
they seem pretty sanguine about the whole deal.
They do. I think the most important thing for the Australian government was not necessarily getting the money back, but making sure that Rex stayed in the air and kept those regional services going.
And I think that's the outcome that so far has been found. So far, so good.
Yeah, and it will still be, it'll have foreign ownership, but it'll still be an Australian registered company subject to Australian law
and regulations, of course,
and regulations.
Yep.
So the government has also sought guarantees because there's been, concerns. Oh, they're going to, fly Rex's Saabs overseas and strip them for parts. But the government has sought guarantees that
won't be the case.
That the airline will continue to service its network and the jobs will stay.
Yeah.
So. Not only do we get to talk incessantly about the AIRT Rex deal, but it's staying. But Rex's fleet is apparently staying in the skies and returning.
I think
to
that's
the
a good
skies.
outcome for everyone.
Resurrected from the amber in which it has been trapped over the past year or so. Have you seen Jurassic Park, Bethany?
I have. I haven't watched it in a long time though.
I haven't, but I can still.
Ever.
I haven't seen.
It's
Jurassic
one of those
Park.
movies that's just become part of the complete consciousness.
Yeah,
I think
without even seeing it.
Yeah. You just know, you know the soundtrack, you know the quotes, you know the jokes. Yeah. You practically have seen it. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean it's the sort of thing that you kind of absorb by osmosis over periods of years. Apparently, the later entry's not as good.
There was. I love that one great movie they made that never made any more again. Yeah, that's this
When
timeline,
was the
right?
Original
Original was. It might
back in
be
the 90s, yeah.
I think you're probably right, actually. And then there were like a few movies that followed, and then a big gap, and then they started to make more of them. I don't know why.
Because dinosaurs, I guess.
I mean, dinosaurs are cool. You can't lie there. What's next up on the off the tarmac, as it were?
Well, talking of the tarmac, I was out yesterday at Western Sydney International Airport to see the first jet aircraft go on the tarmac.
Tarmac worked?
Yeah, tarmac
Good,
works
excellent,
fine.
great, excellent.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
tarmac
cool.
just
Good
held
start.
up, which is what you want tarmac
Yes,
to do,
yes, yes.
especially at an airport. It was a chilly morning. It's surprising cold snap over the past couple of days.
Oh, look, I'll take it over
Yeah.
that small heat wave we had. So
Yeah,
anytime.
well, I mean, sort of the last hurrah of winter before we get into the summer
Don't
months. I
leave us
suppose.
winter, please.
But went out yesterday morning very, very early to see, well, I say very, very early, 7:30 in the morning. I'm sure there's people who wake up earlier.
It's very, very early for a journalist. Let me
Yeah,
tell you.
very early for a journalist. But went out there to see the first jet landing. So this was a New South Wales RFS, that is the Rural Fire Service jet that is taking part in this big emergency drill over, today, Wednesday, and yesterday, Tuesday. N138CG, dubbed Marie Bashir after the former governor, who I met when I was in high school. Lovely lady. So that it flew over from RAF Base Richmond, touchdown, wonderful smooth landing. You can see our video on our YouTube of the landing, and it's a big day for the airport.
Were there cheers? Like, was it applause?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Cheers, applause. You know, you had the Today Show there, you had Sunrise there, you had 7 News, you had everybody there.
It's weird because, like, for almost as long as I can remember, Western Sydney Airport has been either proposed or being built.
Yeah.
And now planes are
Something's
actually flying
happening
into
there.
it. Yeah. It's going to be a real thing.
It is going to be a real thing. And it follows some flight path testing the other week by a Cessna, which was just making sure that all of the approaches were safe and everything.
Yep.
And they put a whole bunch of bags through the baggage.
Just dry runs all over the place, basically.
Yeah,
Make
doing
sure
dry
everything's
runs,
working. Yeah.
making sure everything's working. The airport, that I've been inside the terminal, it looks lovely. Not quite ready to go. There's still a whole bunch of fittings that need to be done, like the shops.
I know you're not a drinking person, but are the bars ready yet?
No, the bars are not ready yet.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
No retail
I'm
outlets.
Not going yet.
Yeah.
Now, Bethany, I know that you live in sort of the
Yes.
closer to Kingsford Smith Airport,
yeah.
but if the price is right, would you be tempted to fly out of Western Sydney?
I don't know, probably. I mean, actually, I saw something this morning that they're thinking about doing more metro lines that will like make it like closer for different areas. But I don't know. I feel like it might be like, I don't know.
So what do you mean by the cost? Like, would flights be cheaper out of there, depending?
Potentially.
Really? I hadn't been aware of that.
Sydney's pretty congested.
Yeah.
And you can imagine that Western Sydney Airport would be wanting to offer the best deals they can to airlines to
people to
get
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To get airlines in there.
I hadn't even realized that might be a possibility.
Yeah, because we so far there's 4 airlines confirmed: Jetstar, Qantas, Link.
Yep.
So not Qantas domestic as of yet. At this stage, it'll be Qantas Link that will be flying out of Western Sydney. Then Air New Zealand and Singapore Airlines. No sign of Virgin as of yet, but talks presumably underway. Also presumably underway for Rex. And it will be less congested. There will be more slots available, potentially more flights. So could bring airfares down, hopefully.
It could. And I mean, I guess, once you start halving the fact that, the half the population of Sydney now have another airport closer to them than Kingsford Smith, that's going to make Kingsford Smith a little bit more easy to deal with as well.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the pilots of the RFS plane,
if the cab drivers could just stop charging for a trip to Petersham $60, I'd be really happy.
Well, I mean, they've got that flat fare trial into the CBD of $60. And that's it. So enough. No more taxi drivers charging.
I think it's just good because there's millions of people in Western Sydney, and it's like such like an untapped area.
Oh, absolutely! Like Parramatta is now the centre of
second
Sydney,
CBD,
effectively.
basically.
And so that's the area where I grew up. And I was out there a couple of years back, and the place really has changed. It's like nothing like I remember it. There's entire areas of Parramatta you just avoid, especially when you live there. You know just how dangerous. Not so much dangerous. It's like nasty it can be. And now it's like, oh. Okay, it's like a second CBD.
Yeah.
And it's
this place deserves an airport.
There's a lot of talk about it's going to be so hard to get to the CBD. It's going to take so long to get into the city. But the point of Western Sydney Airport is not necessarily to make it easy to get into the city. It's to serve Western Sydney.
Stop serving the CBD. CBD has Kingsford Smith.
Yeah.
And I feel like that the whole argument of it takes so long to get to the city from Western Sydney. Like I live in Western Sydney. It takes 40 minutes on the train, 35, 40 minutes. Like it's really, I feel like everyone thinks it's so far away, but
It's not
it's
nearly
not that
that bad.
far.
Yeah.
It's really not that far.
Yeah, and there's going to be the metro that's I think at this stage not going to open at the same time as the airport. They're still working on that, but that's going to go up to St. Mary's. And again, as you said, Bethany, potential connections to the airport metro elsewhere. And millions of people live out there. It's an airport for them primarily. Honestly, if you're living close to Kingsford Smith and you need to get to Kingsford Smith, it might take you ages anyway, given all the congestion.
It's a horrible drive where I live.
Yeah. So it's a great day for Western Sydney Airport, and hopefully. This was not an ominous sign, but the plane was supposed to touch down at around 8:05. Roughly, it touched down at about 8:30. So you heard it here first, folks. The first jet
delay.
aircraft to land at Western Sydney Airport was delayed. Hopefully not a sign of things to come, but
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll all buff out.
Yeah, we'll be bringing you more news on Western Sydney Airport as it develops, which we suspect it will be doing very rapidly over the next year or so. We're going to go for our first quick break, but when we come back, we'll have more of the week's news. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the Australian Aviation Podcast. Jake Nelson here with David Hollingworth and Bethany Alvaro. Now, we talked a bit about Rex's regional services earlier on, and we talked a bit about airfares earlier on, which is a lovely joint little dovetail segue into this story. The Productivity Commission is launching this review of regional airfares to try and bring prices down. This is something that was flagged by the Transport Minister earlier this year, something that's kind of arisen from the white paper, which was released last year. But it's about finding, according to Jim Chalmers and Minister Catherine King, finding reliable air services at reasonable prices for regional Australia. It will look at competition, pricing practices, whether profits along the supply chain are fair. Now, according to the white paper last year, the average ticket price per kilometre for flights involving regional airports was 52% more than flights between two capital cities.
That's not a small hike either.
It's not at all.
No.
And despite passenger numbers growing overall, the number of regional routes between 1989 and 2021 fell from 458 in 89 to 291 in 21.
Wow.
Number of remote routes fell from 264 to 163. Many of these routes are now only served by one airline.
Yeah, that's not great.
So if you've only got one airline flying into a remote regional airport, be that Rex or QantasLink or whoever else, they can sort of charge what they like.
They've got a lock on the market, yeah.
Yeah, and these are essential services. It's not just duck out to
holiday.
duck out to Sydney for a holiday or go.
These are people who fly to work.
Yeah, exactly, to work, to hospital, to school. This is one of the reasons why the government was so eager to keep Rex in the air, because it is the only airline that's serving a lot of these remote airports. So they're looking to bring these prices down. Jim Chalmers, in the terms of reference, he said, regional airports carry around 40% of all domestic passengers. They generally have fewer airlines servicing them, less competition. Now, state and territorial governments do have arrangements to support interstate aviation. So WA, for example, has this regional airfare zone cap, where basically, if you're flying regionally, I think especially from Perth, there's the amount that you as a passenger will pay is capped, and the rest the government foots the bill.
Yeah.
And I think there's been sort of calls for this to happen in places like New South Wales as well. Now, one thing that is going to present a bit of a challenge here, of course, is that regional carriers often operate on really, really thin profit margins. I was speaking to Rob Walker, who's the chief executive of the Regional Aviation Association of Australia, the RAAA, at the Australian Aviation Summit earlier this year. Look forward to that next year, Bethany, by the way. It's a big one. It's a big one. But he was talking about if you take a Q400 and you break down the costs seat by seat and row by row, basically the profit margin for the airline on that flight is the last row of seats, and everything else goes to costs.
Yeah.
So fuel, staff, airport fees, all of that. Maintenance, that sort of thing. So Rob Walker, the chief executive of the RAAA, said at the summit, the solution to these high regional airfares is probably going to involve a combination of things. When you're a big airline, he said you can sort of amortize your cost base over a whole network. For some regional operators, they might have only one or two routes, that they use smaller aircraft that are not as cost efficient as running big jets. There's staff costs, there's fuel, airport landing charges, ground support, regulatory burdens. He said, quote, if it's about starting that conversation and making sure that all the contributing factors to an airfare are well understood. If there's a chance to do it better, cheaper, quicker, or ameliorate those in some way, that's the area to look at. Final report from the Productivity Commission. They say of the Acropolis where the Parthenon is that the final report is expected in about 18 months.
Well, that's 18 more months of those 50% greater fees.
52%, yeah. I presume you don't do a lot of regional travel.
That's a lot, though.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot. So if you ever find yourself flying out to the regions, you might find yourself paying more than you would to fly to a capital city, which is a shame. It's sad.
Yeah,
it is. I'm planning on making a trip down to Country Victoria later this year. Well, actually, New Year's, and wondering do I fly into Melbourne and get a train out to Shepo, or do I do something regional and fly in there and get that experience? And now I'm like, maybe I'll just fly into Melbourne. Just get a train. It's probably going to be cheaper all up.
Yeah. I mean, probably cheaper still if you go to Avalon. But
who flies to Avalon?
Well, a Jetstar and Fly Pelican.
Okay, look, that was rhetorical.
Formerly Bonza.
Okay, thank you. All right. I set the bar too low. That's on me.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that this can bring down regional airfares.
Without anyone crying, socialism's bad.
Speaking of airlines, wow, that's a segue, isn't it?
Yeah, didn't see that one coming.
It's time to award the coveted Huey Award.
You better explain what a Huey is to Bethany.
Yes, Bethany, you sounded very intrigued when we mentioned this before, but the Huey Award, which has this very prestigious and well-designed trophy attached to it that you can see if you're watching the video, if you're listening to audio. I'm holding up a lump of glass with some stuff taped to it. The Huey Award is given every month on a wildly unscientific basis for the most reliable airline based on the data from BITRA, which is the sort of government bureau that officially looks at on-time performance and things like that. Now, this month has been full of surprises as far as airline reliability has been concerned. The big one is that Jetstar, that much maligned low-cost carrier that has been the butt of jokes and some would say the scourge of travelers looking to get places on time.
It's consistent though.
Well, Jetstar this last month, September, cancelled only 1% of flights. 99% of flights from Jetstar were completed. The lowest cancellation rate among the major airlines for last month.
How low does that rate historically? Have they done something pretty amazing here, or have they just done, pretty well?
I mean, Jetstar's cancellation rate sort of has been above that, obviously. But it's they've been working hard, and credit to them, to bring it down. Virgin Australia usually is the major carrier with the lowest cancellation rate, but Virgin and still the airline group overall with the lowest cancellation rate, because Jetstar is counted separately from Qantas and QantasLink in this data. There were only two carriers that cancelled fewer flights than Jetstar. One was Hinterland,
which you were talking about previously.
Hinterland, the last month's Huey winner, a perennial high performer.
They're up in the
based in Cairns.
Yeah, Far North Queensland.
Far North Queensland. Yeah. Up for sale at the moment.
Maybe Air T should look at them.
Perhaps. So Hinterland, perennial high performer, cancelled just 0.2% of its flights. And Virgin Australia Regional Airlines, which it's done this a few times, cancelled no flights at all for the month. So 100% completion rate. Well done, Vara. But Jetstar also performs solidly in other areas. On-time arrivals, Jetstar did not beat QantasLink, but it did beat Qantas Domestic. So Jetstar on-time arrivals 79.3%, Qantas Domestic 78.4%, and Virgin Australia individually, which got 76.9%. Jetstar also just pipped Virgin for on-time departures, so 78.3 to 78.2%. Not a whole lot in it, but behind Qantas domestic. But this was the best on-time departure rate in September for Jetstar in 10 years, not counting COVID. Matt Franzi, the chief operating officer of Jetstar, said, quote, customers turn to us for low fares, but they also want a reliable service. And time again, that's exactly what we're delivering. Our customers are at the heart of everything you do. We will keep working hard to be the very best low-cost airline we can be.
And so far, they're doing it.
Yeah. And it's, you may be surprised to hear that Jetstar cancelled. Are you surprised to hear that Jetstar cancelled so few flights, Bethany?
I don't know. I feel like when I think of like Jetstar, I think they're more just like delayed for like 7 hours rather than cancelled. But I mean, that's like 1%.
And that's what they try and do, isn't it?
Yeah,
just push
they'd
it back
rather push
as
a
far
flight.
as
Well,
they
no,
can.
that's Virgin.
That's Virgin.
So
That's
Virgin
right.
would rather push back a flight than cancel it. Virgin has, as usual, beaten Qantas. Virgin Network has beaten Qantas Network on cancellations. So Virgin and Vara cancelled 1.5% of flights compared to 2.8% for the Qantas network. Qantas Link, by the way, the worst cancellation rate for the month at 3.4%, which, actually, honestly...
I mean, it's not outside of the margin of error, really. I mean, yeah.
And on-time performance for Virgin did improve in August. But look, in terms of the Huey, and this
seems pretty cut and dried to me.
This is going to send a lot of people reeling. But
Jetstar walks away with it.
Credit where it's due.
Yeah.
Credit where it's due. The Huey Award for the most reliable airline in the month of September. Congratulations. Label fallen off, but it goes to Jetstar.
It's so prestigious award. It's falling apart. People are trying to get it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's poetic, but we'll stick that label back on the Huey. Congratulations for the first time, Jetstar, the winner of the Huey Award for the most reliable airline. Let that be. Is that an endorsement of Jetstar? We don't tend to endorse airlines here, so I don't know why.
But we do give them a lump of glass with a sign taped to it. So take it or leave it.
We got one last story before our second break, I think. And this is an interesting one. Normally, we wouldn't pay too much heed to stories of, executive reshuffles and things of that nature. But Fiji Airways has a new CEO. And the reason that this is interesting is because that CEO is one Paul Scurrah. Now, Paul Scurrah, making his return to the aviation industry, was the CEO of Virgin Australia from 2019 to 2020. Significant pause.
Those fun years.
Yes. So he joined. He succeeded John Borghetti as the CEO of Virgin Australia, and went into 2020 as the CEO. And then, of course, in 2020, COVID hit and Virgin collapsed into voluntary administration. Yeah. So one might scratch their head and ask, well, why are you appointing a CEO who, their airline went into administration? Surely that would be the kiss of death. But the thing is, it kind of wasn't really Paul Scurrah's fault.
I mean, unless we're blaming him for COVID. I mean,
yeah.
Was he patient zero?
See, it's we can't prove that he was or wasn't. Yep. Paul Scurrah, where were you in 2020 or sort of at the end of 2019, and was it Wuhan? But Paul Scurrah, he sort of inherited a rough deal from previous management because Virgin had been hemorrhaging money for ages. It was billions of dollars in debt. It had been trying unsuccessfully to compete with Qantas for years and years and years and years as this premium legacy carrier, and basically shoveling money into a big hole. And Paul Scurrah came along, and he was sort of handed a little bit of a poison chalice. And when he took over, COVID hit a few months later, and that kind of was a blessing in disguise as far as Virgin was concerned, because it did send Virgin into administration, but it was also kind of a great leveler in the airline industry. Everyone was in trouble during COVID. I mean, Qantas was relying on government subsidies to keep flying, as was Virgin. So Virgin had access to those subsidies to keep its fleet in the air while it was in voluntary administration. And if COVID hadn't come along, it would have been some other external thing that might have brought Virgin down, and they wouldn't have had all of that safety net to fall back on, and they wouldn't have had as level a playing field. And so there was no one who could really come along and eat Virgin's lunch while it was in voluntary administration. I mean, Rex tried, and we all know what happened to Rex. We talked about it earlier on in this podcast. But Paul Scurrah was sort of the guy who, under Virgin's voluntary administration, he stayed on as CEO, and he started this process of streamlining the fleet, shifting to a more mid-market hybrid carrier strategy. This was something that was carried on during Jane Herdlich's term as CEO after she succeeded him. So when he stepped down, Bain Capital had agreed to buy Virgin, and Jane Herdlich took over, and away they went, and they're back on the ASX and doing now very, very well. So according to Nalin Patel, who is the chairman of Fiji Airways, during his time at Virgin, Scurrah, quote, built strong momentum across operations, employee engagement, and customer satisfaction. He was recognized for his strategic leadership steering the airline through one of the most turbulent periods in modern aviation, the COVID-19 pandemic. When international travel came to a halt, Mr. Scurrah led a rapid and complex restructuring that preserved core routes, safeguarded jobs, and positioned the airline for recovery.
I mean, it sounds like he managed the heck out of that crisis.
Yeah, he did. And if you go back to 2020, there was a whole podcast that we did with not me, it was Adam Thorne and Phil Tarrant. Who I wasn't there in 2020, obviously, but he spoke on the Australian Aviation Podcast about the future of Virgin sort of shortly before he stepped down as CEO. And it is easy to point fingers at the guy who was at the helm when the airline collapsed, but the collapse had sort of been a while coming. If it wasn't that, it would probably have been someone else, and he played a bad hand the best he could.
Yeah, he played a bad hand well, honestly. So I'm not surprised he's picked up a role at another airline. The guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, so best of luck to Paul Scurrah over at Fiji Airways. And a new chapter in aviation for a guy who's been out of it for
this time years. For sure.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We're going to go for one more quick break, but when we come back, we're talking more of the week's news. Back in a moment. All right, welcome back. Now, this is a story that you covered, Bethany, and this is sort of an interesting one because we don't talk a lot about Antarctica. But Bethany, what's happening? What is the RAF doing down in Antarctica?
Yeah, so last week, I think it was, they were dropping supplies to Casey Station in Antarctica, which is about just under 4,000 kilometres south of Perth. And they were dropping off supplies, food, and scientific equipment. Unnamed.
Do they normally do airdrops to the Antarctic stations?
Well,
or is this...
not really. This is well. I mean, they've been helping out with research for the past 10 years, and there's been about 6 RAF supply drops in the past. But yeah, so they're dropping supplies to help the Million Year Ice Core project, which is they're working on drilling a really deep hole in Antarctica.
Is that the scientific term? For
yeah,
that?
Really
that's It's an RBH.
Yeah, that's what
it's an RBH.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's to get a record of the Earth's climate and atmospheric composition.
And hopefully they won't wake any
monsters down there. Yeah, who knows?
Disease or something.
Yeah, what do we reckon?
I'm sorry, the last few years has got me really, really gun shy about that kind of stuff.
Do we think they'll find the thing?
Oh, likely. Ooh. Yeah.
Great news. We're alone in the universe. Bad news. It's bad. What was the aircraft? Was it a Hercules?
It was a C-17, a Globemaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they've in June, I think they did the first sample. So they look at all the ice and all the air bubbles inside the ice to see how the conditions change over time. And they have like a little, I don't know, like an interactive kind of scale thing. So at 1,000 meters down in the really big hole, the RHB, the ice is about 76,000 years old. And
good grief.
Yeah. And because they're trying to get the million-year record, that is at nearly 3,000 meters down is when the ice is a million.
3 kilometers down, you get million-year-old ice.
A million-year-old ice, yeah.
I can't wait to see that as a drinking water product.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's old.
Yeah, well, it's why it's spring water that's been bubbling through mountains for centuries? Why does it have an expiry date?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
God, you can just imagine some rich guy looking to buy a million-year-old ice to cool his drinks or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you said they dropped in supplies, food, and research equipment.
Scientific equipment is what it
What
said.
kind of equipment? Like,
I don't
because
know,
that
I'm
sounds like
guessing
something you don't just literally drop out of the back
yeah,
of an
literally,
airplane.
like the photos is literally like airdrops.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So
but-
it came down under a parachute.
yeah,
Many parachutes.
Many parachutes.
For those who can't see the image, maybe we could edit the image into the video cast. But it looks like a proper airborne landing from World War II.
Yeah.
It's just a sky full of parachutes.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
pretty much.
parachuting in supplies, scientific equipment, propaganda, encouraging them to rise up
British
against
airborne, just in case. Yeah.
But and this is a pretty big milestone as well this year for the RAF, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of Antarctica.
Yeah, so it's their 10th anniversary, basically, of supporting the research operations down there. And Vice Admiral Justin Jones, Chief of Joint Operations, said that this is one of the most ambitious and challenging scientific missions ever undertaken in Antarctica.
Can't you believe it?
Yeah.
I mean, digging down that deep doesn't sound like it's a fun thing to do anywhere on the planet, let alone Antarctica.
Yeah, but it's they only have like certain times where they can work the most.
Yeah.
So late November to late January is what the science lead said is like their peak time to work. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Where did they stage out of? Did they fly out of Perth or did they stage out of somewhere else?
The people that are like doing the actual research, they're like living down there.
They're living
for
down there.
now.
But I mean the art
Oh,
of
that,
yeah.
actually, I don't think it said where they came from, but I'm guessing probably Perth. Yeah.
I guess if you're in Antarctica, you don't care where it's coming from as long as it arrives.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there we go. We've learned some things today about the RAF's mission, about the Million-Year Ice Core project, and the scientific name for a really big hole.
Yeah.
RBH.
Speaking of really big holes,
Okay.
really big holes in cybersecurity.
Thank you for that weird segue. All right, so you probably know a little bit more about the One Sky system than I do, but it is a combination of civilian and military air traffic control.
Yes, One Sky CMATS. That's what it's called.
Yeah. So it was due to go probably live sometime mid 2027, but that's now going to be late. And you know why? Crimes. My kind of crimes as well, cybercrime. According to...
he finally admits it. Boys, come in. This is a sting
damn it, I've
operation.
been so subtle about this. Air Service Australia Chief Rob Sharp, speaking to The Australian, our colleagues over at The Australian got this one, and it's a fantastic little scoop. Air Service Australia is facing multiple cyber attacks, what they're calling cyber attacks, each day. It's just unrelenting. And what I'd imagine these attacks aren't full-on ransomware attacks. It's probably every now and then a little bit of social engineering. But more often than not, it's probably just port scanning. Just bad guys out there.
What's a port scanning?
What's a port scan? Basically, I hit a button and a magic piece of software scans the internet for open ports. And there's an open port. Oh, what's in there? There might be a vulnerability I can use to actually get further into that network, and that's how they do it.
So looking for RBHs.
Really, really small.
RSHs.
Actually, RSHs. The rollout of this $1.9 billion project has been pushed back by 3 months because they just need to putting in more cyber. He told The Australian, the reality is every time we invest, the game changes. You've got to put more layers in it, more protection. And I love this piece of understatement. I suspect geopolitically that requirement is not going to change anytime soon. From the mouths of babes.
Yeah. No, they got to put in more cyber. Okay, everything is computer. Everything's computer.
And it's interesting because apparently the facility itself, they're looking after everything, not just external cyber threats. They're looking after internal insider threats, people who work inside the organization that might become a threat and try and get data out. They're making sure that no one can actually get a physical probe inside of this building and or office. So they're really, really going hard for security because it's all about air traffic control in one basket. So obviously they want to look after it. And I can't say I'm upset at a 3-month delay if that's 3 months is going to make them safer and the rest of the country safer by extension.
Yeah, exactly. And we control, or Air Services controls and looks after a hefty chunk of the world's airspace. You know, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, you know, all over Australia. This whole One Sky CMATS program, for your edification, Bethany, is designed to basically bring military and civilian air traffic control under the same roof, under the same system. And it's looking to unify Australia's airspace so that it's not just, you know, half is handled by Brisbane and half is handled by Melbourne. It can be handled from anywhere.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that's a great disaster response move as well, because we're going to see more and more disaster response where the military is going to need to be involved. And now we have this unified system where all of that can be done in one place. So, yeah.
So air traffic management is one of the big 3 pillars of aviation. You've got airlines, airports, air traffic management, and it's going to be a big thing moving forward. Time for a couple of quick things. Now, you two will know that I am a big fan and a big proponent of the theatre.
Hadn't guessed.
The theatre. And this is, I've got my new musical, by the way, Ride the Cyclone, coming up next week. Sydney Musical Theatre. It is going to be at the Green Hall Theatre in Linfield. So if you want to see me sitting in a glass box with a mask on my face pretending to be a mechanical fortune-telling machine, come see that. Anyway, on a more aviation-related topic.
Yes.
There's a new stage play that's opened up about the career of Deborah Laurie, who was one of the first female commercial airline pilots in Australia, one of, if not the first. So she had this big high court battle with Ansett in 1979 to 1980, and she still flies for Virgin, because basically, you know, she wanted to fly. Ansett didn't want her to fly because, you know, Reg Ansett didn't think that women could be pilots. And you know, she won this high court battle, and she became, you know, a trailblazer. She's still flying for Virgin Australia today, you know, and she actually had a preview performance. Flew some friends and supporters over to watch this at Sydney's Ensemble Theatre. The play is called Fly Girl, and.
Fitting name, I guess.
Fitting name, yeah. And it looks really interesting.
Well, I mean, you have to say that. You're a theatre kid.
Yeah, it's true. A theatre kid and an av geek now. So the Venn diagram of my interest is rapidly. But this looks like a great show. I'm hoping to get out to see it. So congrats to Deborah Laurie for having this battle immortalized on stage.
Well, I think Bethany and I both look forward to your in-depth review when you do get to see it.
Yeah. And I mean, Bethany, have you been doing a lot with sort of women in aviation and women in defense?
There's a few things happening. It's still, you know, a very uneven industry, and I feel like I'm definitely realizing that, like. Now, you know.
Well, you're in one of the great positions now where you can actually start to forward those positive stories about women in aviation, women in defence.
Yeah.
I know that's something Momentum Media feels really strongly about. Defence Connect now has a dedicated podcast just to that.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you come up with something like that, you could be running this yourself.
Yeah, no, it's cool to see, like, you know, the little stories that come out. You're like, oh wait, it could actually be good.
Yeah.
There's positives.
Yeah. Now, of course, Bethany here at Australian Aviation, and I have expounded upon this to you when you first came to the office. We do follow the Sith rule of 2, whereby there is always one apprentice and one master, and the master must learn to overcome and destroy. The apprentice must overcome and destroy the master before the master can destroy them in turn. Just as I overcame and destroyed my master, Darth Adam Thorne, so too must you overcome and destroy me. It's the way of things.
Okay. What am I, chopped liver riding at a chance in this destruction thing?
Well, I mean, you've already got your own patch.
Okay, cool. All right. So you two are the Sith and I'm the Jedi visiting.
Yeah. So maybe you'll destroy both of us, or maybe we'll destroy you. I don't know. It's kind of unclear.
This podcast took a turn, man.
Anyway. So yes. So this was a bit. This is a great Great play. We should, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting out and seeing it. Last thing, congratulations further to Virgin Australia. The first E190 E2 is now flying commercial services.
Oh, fantastic.
This was the plane that I went over into Perth on that special media flight last month. I don't remember if was it you that I...
Yes. We had a long chat about it.
Yeah. It's a great little aircraft.
Quiet, you were saying.
Quiet, very, very quiet, very, very comfortable. All the new aircraft that they're coming out with, the Max 8, the E2, the A321 XLR that I went to Melbourne with, Qantas, all whisper quiet. If you get a chance to fly on one of these new planes, Bethany, the Max 8, the A321, the E2, for some reason, if you're going to a mining site in Western Australia,
never know.
Just listen out and see if you can hear the engines, because they are so smooth and so quiet that the loudest thing you'll hear is probably the air conditioning compressor. But that is now flying its commercial services. It has entered into revenue service. It operated its first route on Monday, VA 9217 from Perth to Bulgida, which I presume has a mine. They're mainly going to be used for charter and FIFO operations in Western Australia, but they will be also put into service in regular passenger transport because they have business and economy class seats. And they're replacing the old Fokkers, the Fokker 100s. Never gets old. They're replacing the old Fokker 100s, which are, getting up there in years, and they are so loud. When we were doing the press conference for the E190 E2, a Fokker was taking off from Perth Airport at one point, and you could just hear it screaming overhead. So these planes are a lot quieter, and there's a lot that's been said about aircraft noise, or as we call it here at Australian Aviation, the purring of sky kittens, because we like to put a positive spin on things.
Love it.
But people are, worried about ending up under flight paths, and sky kittens purring their way overhead. But these newer aircraft have a much reduced. Sorry, these new Sky Kittens have a much reduced purring profile than older planes like the 737-800s even, and the Fokker 100s. And so the purring will be less than it would otherwise be as more and more of these new planes come into service. So hats off, congratulations to Virgin Australia.
It's really good.
For welcoming to service the E190 E2. That is about all the time we have for the Australian Aviation Podcast today before they start shooing us out of the studio with brooms. But I'd like to thank Bethany Alvaro, our graduate journalist, for her
first
debut.
time, not the last, I assure you.
Her debut appearance on the Australian Aviation Podcast. Hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, thank you.
And as always, thanks to my co-host
Signing
David
off time
Hollingworth.
now.
Yeah, thanks to my co-host David Hollingworth of Cyber Daily. May you reclaim the throne of Toowoomba.
Yes.
From the usurper, whoever
that may be. The mayor, I guess.
Watch out, Mayor of Toowoomba. Yeah. He's coming for you. But thank you all for joining us on the Australian Aviation Podcast. That is it from us. So, goodbye.